What's up, guys? You already know what this is about. All right, listen. The chart setup for AMC right now looks really, really fucking good. Now, I'm not here to gaslight you. I'm not here to make stuff up. I am extremely happy with the way that things look right now heading into this week. Many people have asked, I was live streaming today. Many people asked, Trey, is $27 the high of the week? Do you think this could touch the 30s? Do you think this is sort of the height of where we're going? And my answer is I don't think so. I really don't. I've got some stuff charted out that I'd like to show you. Some best case scenarios, some second case scenarios, some worst case scenarios, so that we can sort of prepare you coming into the rest of the week, because I do think that there's going to be more upside. I do think that. I do think that they're going to go above $27.50 and some change. I think $30 is a possibility. And lastly, all right, timing matters. Be smart with options. Don't lose money on your options. Don't be a freaking Citadel cuck. Don't donate them your money. They're not a charity. All right, keep that shit in your pockets. So with that being said, let's just get right into it. All right, I'm not a financial advisor, not financial advice. Please take it with a grain of salt. AMC right now looks beautiful. All right, we talked about this, I think, either Friday or on Twitch on a live stream, but I sort of mentioned what I think makes the most sense coming into this week. And I mentioned that I think Monday you're going to see an immediate impulse up and a tap and rejection off of the Holy Grail trend line. Why? Why did I think I was going to see a rejection off the Holy Grail trend line? It's because every time that you test a major level of support or resistance, and this one dating all the way back to, frankly, June of 2021, this is certainly a big level to cross. You typically don't break these levels on your first tap, which means, hey, I expected that it would take a couple tries. We're on our first try right now. The most important thing off of that rejection and impulse up, though, is the reaction afterwards. What was the stock going to do afterwards? And if you were live, if you were with me on the live stream earlier today, just drop a W in the comment section. I appreciate you stopping in. Something that I thought was important was the reaction to the rejection off of the Holy Grail trend line, that massive bear trend resistance line that has existed since June of 2021. And that was two different scenarios. Now, I drew up this one when I was live. It was the 382, but there's a second one, which we'll go over here in a little bit. It's sort of like a grade A and a grade B scenario. This is the number one. This is the best case. This would be sort of the second best case. And you can make an argument either way. I think that number two actually gives you an opportunity to buy for cheaper before the next leg up. But nonetheless, it's the same concept, right? It's just different means to an end. The number one scenario, what I really saw sort of taking place today, was a rejection off of that Holy Grail trend line, followed by a retracement down to what I viewed as a demand zone. And this demand zone, just by pure luck, lined up beautifully with the 0.382 Fibonacci level. If you want to know how to draw this up, it's super easy. I'll do it alongside with you right now, just so you can freaking see how to do this and draw it up on your own chart. But what you do is you come over here to TradingView, you click on this. If you don't have it picked, all you have to do is go to Fib retracement, pick it, go from the lowest low of this move to the highest high. And what you're going to find is that this lines up perfectly with the 382. The bounce, the demand zone, the whole 9 yards. If you come over here to the 1 minute chart, you're going to see a demand zone, which is right here. It's a point in which buyers stepped in to make a significant jump up in price action. That happened. And I view this as a particularly important level. So the best case scenario, I drew this up probably about here, was that it came back down to the 382, and I wanted this to happen, believe it or not. I think that retracements are important for continuation. I was screaming to the ceiling, hey, we need to see a retracement down to the 382 and then a violent V-shaped recovery off of that impulse down. And when this broke down, I remember chat was saying, man, this sucks. We're dying. And I remember saying, hey, listen, you actually might not believe me, but when things sell off this hard, I like that, because that means that you're going to get just as violent as a bounce back up, and you finish the retracement process so you can continue the fun part, which is stocks go boom, boom, right? We want more of that boom, boom stuff. And if you get out the crappy stuff fast, well, then you get more of the boom, boom stuff a little bit quicker. I view this as huge. And if you look at this on the 1 hour chart, what you're going to see is what I think makes the most sense. I thought that we'd see a bounce off the 382, followed by a pick back up to the 236, a retest of the 236, and then a retest of the Holy Grail trend line. And if you look at this, that lines up with about 9 to 10 August. I think either tomorrow or Wednesday makes pretty decent sense for the way that goes. That was very purposeful. I did that for a reason. That's because I think that's about when you can expect that second test of that Holy Grail trend line is either tomorrow or Wednesday. I think that that does make some decent sense. And so far we have gotten the impulse up. Now, why did I think this makes sense in the first place? Let's come back to March. March of 2022, we saw a very similar reaction where it impulsed up to this trend line. You drop a Fibonacci from bottom to top. It's the same thing that I just showed you before. You put the bottom on the bottom, you put the top on the very highest price point, and you level out where things sort of bounce, right? No reaction on the 382, no reaction on the 236. I mean, you got an immediate gut punch on the 236, but it just couldn't hold that. 0.5, you got one up to the 382, rejected, came down to the 618, no reaction, came down to the 786, no reaction. Right? This is an entirely different scenario. In the best case scenario here, what you'd probably be looking for was a bounce off of this 0.5 or the 0.382. It couldn't do it, right? Just didn't have the strength, didn't have the wind in its sails to carry that momentum. It just stayed in this overall flagged down pattern where it respected this falling trend line. Now, the difference this time around is the strength that it had off of that immediate gut punch impulse up. It held more of that move. And when I saw that reaction, when I saw how much of the move it actually held, I thought to myself, this is a pretty solid narrative for that 382 bounce, as it does line up with that demand zone. So having seen respective levels in the past, having seen how things moved in the past, I thought, all right, let's just draw it out. Let's see if it makes sense. It bounced there. But the second best scenario, if this doesn't hold, and I think the reason that it wouldn't is if you look on the 1 minute chart and you look at sort of this falling resistance level, 1 minute chart, connect dots right here, right here. If it rejects off of this, I do think there's a possibility for the 618, right? Could see it. Could see this come all the way back down to the 618, which is at about $20 and some change, about $20.45. In which I think you see a very similar sort of recovery, very similar sort of move, and I'll draw it out in case it does happen. But it would look like this. Comes back up, tests out level, can't hold it, bounces around, comes down, 618. Impulse up, V-shaped recovery, bounces around, reclaims after probably rejecting off of supply, pushes back up, retest. This does make some pretty good sense. It probably end up looking like a head and shoulders if it does tap that 618. I think this would be a very quick flash in the pan down, followed by a very quick flash in the pan up. Just like you saw with the 382 today, right? I think that's important. I think that's huge. And that's sort of the second best scenario where you actually be able to load up on calls for a lot cheaper if that's something you're interested in doing. But nonetheless, I'm bullish. I do think you're going to see over 27. I think it's going to take 2 or 3 taps. But I think you're going to break the Holy Grail trend line. Because the momentum is there, because there is fundamental catalyst and fundamental reason for people to be buying both AMC and GameStop right now, which brings me to the next point, right? GameStop. GameStop is officially broken out of their Holy Grail trend line. If you look at this on the 1 hour, touch point, touch point, touch point, touch point, touch point, touch point, breakout. This is the first time since January of 2021 that GameStop has been over this macroscopic falling bear trend line. And this gives you a narrative and a reason to believe that the rest of the meme stocks, quote unquote, AMC, GameStop, BlackBerry, Bed Bath & Beyond, Sundial, all of these stocks usually move in tandem when one has a breakout. And this is just added momentum, and this is a big breakout with volume to match it. We always want to look at volume when you see breakouts, and you got the volume on GameStop when it broke out right there. Huge ramp up in volume gives you the narrative, right? It does make pretty decent sense. By the books, by the textbooks, this looks like a breakout. Which brings me back to AMC, right? Hasn't quite done it yet. Still testing that yellow trend line. Retrace a bit. Came down to that 318. I am of the belief that 318 is this local bottom before it comes back up and retests. Of course, along the way, it has to break this trend line. Has to do it. If it doesn't, I think it'll just come back down and it'll ping pong back and forth until it comes down to that 618. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, right? I think that it's going to hold this 382 and continue on the way that it has. What sort of forward-looking as a spot that you could expect AMC to come up to if it breaks, right? If it happens over the next 1 or 2 days, which I think is very possible, what I would be watching for is actually here. $34.52. This is a momentum level. It's the high from the March run up. I think this is where you're going to really want to be careful about your call options if you're playing that stuff, right? This is where I can really see a narrative for an impulse down and some sideways trading and a little less volatility. I think that's about where stuff will slow down a little bit, regain some strength, sort of consolidate, let people think on their decisions, and then continue up if the stock is ready to do so. But I think 34.52 is that next overall spot to watch for if and when we do break that Holy Grail trend line, which I see as a very real possibility. So to highlight everything, to wrap it up, right? I'm keeping this on here. This is my story. I'm sticking to it. I might be off by a bit, but I think that the 382 is the first part's done. We got the hard part out of the way. We got the impulse down. We got the V-shaped recovery up. Next thing I want is a bounce back up to this 236, which is $24.80. I want it to test this, bounce off of it, come back up and retest that Holy Grail trend line. If it was to happen tomorrow, that would look like about 26.50, and then you can test out that intraday high from today, which is 27.50. And that's looking pretty dang good. So to wrap it up, right? Let's just give you some final thoughts, final words. I'm bullish going into this week. I think things look great. I think there's a great narrative for AMC and GameStop to continue moving upwards, but that is not an excuse to be reckless with money, and that is not an excuse to diamond hand options. Be prepared, have a plan, be ready, and most importantly, make money. Don't fucking lose it. That's what I've got for you guys. I appreciate you as always. Until the next one, much love, light taps. Peace.